Good morning, everybody. MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new video. Title of this video is Can My Power Rankings for NCAA Football and NFL Hit 70% Winners Against the Spread over the weekend? We're going to find out here shortly. Before we do that, as always, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, greatly appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Big shout out to everybody that has subscribed here recently. Greatly appreciate it. If you're looking for a channel that's going to tell you the truth about sports betting, the pros, cons, everything, it's a good channel to subscribe to. I have a ton of playlists if you're wanting to handicap college football, NFL. During this time of the year, I have a lot of good playlists that you can watch that gets into a lot more detail that I'm going to cover in this video. If you want to follow me on social media, you get a ton of value simply by following me on social media. I'm MGCovers, cover spelled with the Z. On Instagram, I put out a ton of content on my storyline. In fact, I showed this line movement strategy for MLB playoffs. I think last I updated it went 5-1. So again, a lot of value simply by following me on social media. Let's dive into this video. Let's talk about what you're looking at on screen. These are my power rankings for last week for college football and NFL. It's exactly what my clients see over here. It's my college football model. Basically what talked about this before. The reason you have a stat model, your stat model is 100% statistically driven with no bias factored into the line, because you see over here on the right, this is a screenshot from Sportsbook Review. All of the sportsbook lines have biases factored into them. The sportsbooks set a line based on the public's perception of that team, because the sportsbooks have to beat, quote, the general public. Whereas my lines over here on the left, these are statistically driven with no bias. And again, our whole premise in sports betting is to find differential between our line and the sportsbook line. And when we have enough value, that is a play. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through each of these. I'm going to show you how accurate this was, see if we can hit 70% in both of these. Again, no handicapping at all. What I mean by that is we're strictly looking at the model based on what the model says. So there's no handicapping involved in this model. So we'll go through this relatively quick. First game here, we had Charlotte minus 12.5. The actual line was minus 3.5, so a lot of value there in favor of Charlotte. That was a win. Arizona, I think I messed that one up, y'all. Arizona State, yep, that shouldn't have been in there, my bad. Next one, let's move to Saturday. Oh, I put it in the wrong one. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is a big win. Akron and Bowling Green. A lot of times when you'll see this with a sports book, when you have two bad teams, more times than not, they'll have the home team favored. That's just the way they set the lines. Bowling Green was minus 14. You can see here, look at our line. Yeah, guys, minus 11.5. That was our line for Akron. Akron wins in a blowout just like we predicted. So they covered. And again, we're counting win-loss against the spread here. Virginia, West Virginia, Baylor. This is an important one to show here. We have Baylor minus 10. Baylor wins in a blowout. This line was actually minus 2, I believe, and right before kickoff, it moved down to, I think it was, let's see here. Let's slide over here and take a peek at it. Yeah, it moved all the way down to 1. Really hard line movement. Yeah, it went from 2 all the way down to 1. That was line movement favoring West Virginia. But here's the important factor, and this is the point I'm making with how accurate my power rankings. For me and my model, I have to put more stock into this model because, again, this is probably the greatest model I've ever created ever of any sport. Better than hockey, better than NCAA basketball. So for me, and the way that I teach, I need to put more stock, more weight into my own rankings as opposed to following things like line movement, which is generally caused by sharps. But I have to also realize I'm a sharp, and that's where my power rankings come. My power rankings are generated by my model and the stats that I use for this model. So. Anyway, so that was a winner there with Baylor. Texas, Oklahoma, incredibly difficult loss to take there. We actually had Texas on the money line. Should have been a win. Tough beat right there. We had Texas. The line was +4. I think we played them. I think we got Texas at like +145. But anyway, that was a loss on the spread there as well. Duke, Georgia Tech, that was another one. Georgia Tech led late, so that was another bad beat there. That was a loss. Same deal with that Louisville game. Let's see, where you at, Louisville? Was it up here? Let's see. Let's find it, guys. There we go. Virginia, Louisville. That was another one. For Louisville was winning, what, 30-13? Ended up losing that one. So another bad beat there for my power rankings. We had Louisville -10.5. Actual line was 2.5. So that was an 8-point differential there. Oh, and two, the way I do college football, NFL, it's different. College football, I'm looking for a 5-point differential between my line and the sportsbook line. For NFL, it's a 3-point differential. Should have said that at the beginning. BYU, Boise State. We didn't play this one. Let's see. BYU. Where you at, BYU? Yeah, here we go. Boise State wins that one. Brigham Young, that was -6. Our line was -10.5. I still counted that as a loss, though. I think that line movement had jumped up a little bit, but still count that as a loss because it was close to the 5. San Jose, Colorado State. We had Colorado State -10.5. Line was only -3.5. Colorado State wins that one in a blowout. Southern Miss and Navy. This was a very interesting game here. Was very tempted to play Navy on the money line. Almost won that one, in fact. They lose to SMU by 7, but you can check out this line was +13.5. So that was a win for the power rankings. Georgia, Auburn. Yes, we had Auburn favored. Did not play that one. They were fairly competitive, I think. Pretty good showing. Georgia, just a really good team there. But again, we'll count that as a loss on the power rankings. Line was +14, our line -11. Moving along, North Texas and Missouri. North Texas was -9. Actually, competitive game. They covered. Let's find this line here. Did I go too far? I probably did. Where you at, North Texas? There we go. North Texas there was getting 18 and 18.5. Our line was -9. Difficult to beat an SEC team on the road, but they did, in fact, cover in that game. So that was a win. Oregon State, that was a tough loss. We actually played this one. We had Oregon State -10. Fairly competitive game. Actual line was -4, so that was a loss. Michigan, Nebraska, really good game here. Michigan pulls that one out late. Where was the line? Yep, -2.5 for Michigan. And same deal there. You had a lot of line movement favoring Nebraska, but again, I would put more stock into my actual power rankings. Our line was -6.5. Sportsbook line 2.5. So again, close to the 5. So I did count it. Air Force -13.5. I believe this line was, yep, right up here, -5.5. So that favors Air Force. Good differential there, and that was a win. TCU wins this one outright. They were at -2, and we had them -10.5. They win. Georgia Southern, Troy, very competitive game. Georgia Southern was +5.5. My power rankings had them -10, so that was a win. Texas, El Paso. This was another example of, let's see if we find it. Yeah, line movement. You can see here, line's going to move against, line moves against Texas, El Paso, -2 down to -1. Again, that's another reason why with line movement, we're not going to overreact to that line movement. It's a situational angle, and the way that I have to approach this is that I realized that I would trust my power rankings more so than I would line movement, because again, sharps make the line move, but I'm also a sharp too, so I have to factor in and put more stock into my college football power rankings because I understand how extremely accurate they are. Texas El Paso -11. They were underdogs. Was that the one that was underdogs? No, -1. They win. Yeah, Texas San Antonio. Okay, this is the one we had. Texas San Antonio -15. They were underdogs, +3.5. I think we played on. Can't remember what the money line was. We'll take a peek here. Yeah, that's probably about right. We had them at I think we had them somewhere in there, plus 140. I think I had them plus 146. They win outright. Close game. LSU, Kentucky. Again, this was another game where I think it was difficult for the books to lay a line. Obviously, a blowout game. Our power rankings showed that Kentucky was going to win this by at least a touchdown and a field goal. We had them at minus 11. But again, a lot of bias in this line as well because sports books, it just didn't look right for Kentucky to be favored over LSU. That's why that line was only minus 2. Again, this line right here, guys, has biased influence in it, whereas my line is just a pure statistical line with no bias. Virginia Tech, Notre Dame didn't play this one. We had Virginia Tech minus 11. Notre Dame wins that one at plus 1. So that counts as a loss. And then finally, New Mexico State here. Almost was going to play New Mexico State on the money line. We had them favored. They were like plus 31.87 on the money line. Crazy. They, of course, get blown out, but do end up covering that. We had them minus 4, getting plus 28 to 28.5. So that was a cover. All right, so let's add this up real quick. So we look at the wins. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 wins. Okay. So let's count the losses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, I think I lost track. My bad, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? That's not right. Hang on a second. I might have messed up something here. I thought it was 7 when I was doing my earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I thought that was right. So the power rankings, understand something. This is very important, which means there's no handicapping. I didn't do any type of situationally handicapping where we're looking at injuries, coaching, quarterback play, defense, anything like that. Just strictly straight from the model. The model went 14-7. So let's see what percentage that is. In order to calculate that percentage, we take 14 divided by the total number of games, which is 21. 67% against the spread for college football power rankings this past week. Absolutely incredible. And there's another video that I've got on YouTube. I think it was the one I did last week. Was that right? Or maybe the week before, and it hit, last week it hit 65% as well. So I've said this before. Again, it's not bragging. I'm just stating the fact. There's nothing out there that's better than this. There's just not. I've been doing this now. This is 7 years since 2015. This is the best model I've ever created, ever. And ironically, this model came from the NFL model. So there's a slight variation, but it's still extremely accurate. Just not going to find anything better than that. So you can go from, if you want to become a client, I'll talk about that at the end of the video. You can go from not knowing anything about sports betting and have probably, in my opinion, the best stat model out there and become extremely sharp with your handicapping right out the gate. And the proof is right here. This is from a monitoring service, Sports Watch Monitor, college football top 5 rankings. We are the #1 handicapper at Sports Watch Monitor. That is the largest monitoring service here in the U.S., and they're based in Las Vegas. So that's #1 out of about 100 handicappers. So again, the reason I'm there is because of the accuracy of this model. All right, so let's dive into NFL Sunday and take a look and see how accurate these power rankings were for NFL. All right, Rams, Seattle. We had this one. You'll see the way these power rankings are done. The highlighted team is the favorite, and it just computes the number here. So this was basically even. Seattle was plus 2.5. So for NFL, I need to have at least a 3-point differential. So that was basically what we call a no play. Atlanta Jets. Yeah, again, this is another example. You had line movement that actually favored the Jets here. Nope, I take that back. It favors Atlanta. So it went from 2.5 to 3 favoring Atlanta. And we had Atlanta -6. So there's our 3-point differential. Atlanta wins. So that's a win for the power rankings. All right, Miami, Tampa Bay. We had Tampa Bay -5. Miami was plus 11, so that was a 6-point differential in favor of Miami. So that was a loss. Now, I count that as a loss, but generally the way that I teach handicapping NFL via my power rankings, we generally don't like to play a team unless they're favored via my power rankings. And I'll tell you why that is, because you've heard me say teams that win in the NFL, teams that win in the NFL also cover 80% of the time. So you'll hear this statement a lot from people that, even handicappers, and this is not a true statement, but we'll hear people say, I don't think that they're going to win, but I think they'll cover. Well, statistically, that's false, because there's only a 20% chance that a team that doesn't cover wins. And why do we know that? You can go look at any of these weeks in NFL prior seasons. The team that wins also covers 80% of the time. So that's just not good handicapping advice. So anytime you hear people say, I don't think they're going to win, but I think they'll cover in NFL, they're wrong. That's a wrong approach. And statistically, it's proven. All right, moving along. So, but just for this example, we count that as a loss. Philadelphia, Carolina, we had Carolina minus 6.7. Tough loss. We actually played Carolina, had that block punt there late, allowed Philadelphia to get an easy score. So that was a tough loss there. Actual line was 2.5. New Orleans, Washington, we had New Orleans blowing this one out, minus 13. Actual line was New Orleans minus 2.5. They win by 10. Tennessee, same type deal here. We had Tennessee minus 13 via my power rankings. Actual line was minus 4, so that was a win. Detroit, Minnesota, this is a really good example here. A lot of people quote, the line is, I've talked about this, line is based on public's perception of a team. Detroit is perceived to be a bad team. However, you can actually see we had Detroit favored. They were minus 2 via my power rankings. Made it a real competitive game, covered at plus 10 here. Denver, Pittsburgh, we actually played this one, tough loss. Denver minus 7.6. The actual line was Denver minus 2. So we were 4-3 here on the early games. And let's slide over here to the afternoon games. Green Bay, Cincinnati, again, another good example, talking about line movement as it relates to my power rankings. Line moved late against Green Bay. It was, well, I say that. Actually not. Let me see here. So 2.5. No, yeah, I remember seeing this line movement. Actually, the late line movement. This is why. Yeah, this is interesting. I remember seeing this. So 2.5. So we got line movement on both sides, which means you had sharp money here late, jumping both ways. You can see here at 2.5. It pushes down to 1. That means you had sharp money coming in here on Cincinnati. But then immediately later after that, it bumps back up in favor of Green Bay. And, of course, Green Bay did win that one. Pretty much a 50-50 game. We had Green Bay minus 6, so there was value in playing Green Bay. The actual line was minus 2, 4-point differential. Green Bay wins. New England, Houston. New England was minus 4 my power rankings. Houston was plus 8, so had a 4-point differential there. Houston almost won that one. They actually cover. Chicago, Las Vegas, basically an even game. 0.3 Vegas favorite, so that's basically what we call a pick 'em via my power rankings. However, Chicago was getting plus 5.5, convincing win over Vegas yesterday, so that counts as a win. Cleveland Chargers, we had Chargers minus 3. The actual line was 2.5, so that's what we call a no play, no value there. Same with this Giants Dallas game. We had Dallas minus 6. Actual line was minus 7.5. So that's a no play. Same with San Francisco, Arizona minus 7. Arizona was minus 6 to minus 5, so no value. However, just FYI, I did actually play Arizona. A couple other reasons why I did play that. Not going to discuss that in the video, but I did play Arizona here, and they covered their 17-10. But it's a no play via the model. And then finally, the game last week. If you're not following me on Instagram, I made a really good point about turnovers. So if you go to my Instagram account, again, MGCovers, you'll see a really good post I made about turnover margin. It's a stat that I include in my model. We had this one. I think this was one of the easiest games for me. I know I was going to play this, even going back to last week. Kansas City, very, very, very overvalued in the marketplace. They should not have been a favorite in this game. Our line had Buffalo blowing them out -9.5, and that's exactly what happened. Kansas City was -2.5. They actually won on a money line. We played them on a money line. I think we got +133, so really good win. So that counts as a win. And then just FYI, just so you can see it, my line for tonight's game, we have this one at even. Let's see what the actual line is now. Yeah, we got Baltimore at -7, so you're getting some value there with Indianapolis. All right, so if you add all that up, the power rankings go 4-3 on this side here, and win 4 more on this side. This game, this game, this game, and this one. So NFL power rankings for last week go 8-3. Absolutely incredible. Again, no handicapping at all, just strictly going by the model. And let's add up 8-3. See what our percentage is here. See if we can hit the 70%. 8 divided by 11. 72%, guys. Absolutely incredible. And again, I've said this, I'll say it forever, is that I'm probably never going to create a model better than this. I mean, the sport could change, and I might have to make some adjustments, which is what we've seen in MLB. But for now, this is the greatest thing I've ever created for a stat model. Extremely accurate. So if you're watching this video, you want access to this model, you can get that. There's a link in the description box. It's $49.95 per month. And you get access to these NFL power rankings, which come out every Tuesday. My NCAA power rankings come out on Monday night. You also get access to all my coaching videos. I've made about 35 videos this year, plus any other coaching videos that I've made in the past. You have access to that. And if you want all of that I just mentioned, in addition to all my plays, it's $99 per month. You get everything I just mentioned, and you also get my plays. I send those out via Telegram so that you get the plays at the same time that I actually make the wager. If you want to join for an entire year, that's the best value out there. Instead of paying $100 a month, you can pay $4.99 one time. It's about a $600 savings. It gives you access to everything on the site. Hey, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.